Tonight's story is all about Prophet Nuh alayhi salam and the ark that he was commanded to build. Prophet Nuh alayhi salam is one of the earliest prophets that we know about. There may have been many prophets between Adam alayhi salam and Prophet Nuh alayhi salam, but we are told about Prophet Nuh quite a bit in the Quran, and we are not told about all of the prophets. And so Prophet Nuh's story and of the great flood happened so many years ago that it is part of many people's story. It happened at a time when the earth was young with people. And so as time has gone on and the world has become more populated, those stories that happened long ago are shared by many, and this is one of them. Prophet Nuh alayhi salam lived most likely in Mesopotamia, and he lived a really long time ago. And by this time, the people had already strayed from the belief in Allah. By this time, towns and cities had grown. There were many people, and they no longer believed in just one creator. They believed in many gods, and they had idols to represent those gods. And these idols were ones that they made themselves out of stone or out of wood. And they prayed to them. And they asked them, those idols, for everything that you would normally ask Allah for. And they prayed to the idols for rain, and they prayed to the idols for a good harvest. They would decorate the idols, and they would bring offerings to them as well. They had festivals in the honor of the idols, and they had celebrations and many holidays.
But this wasn't just Adam, so there were like many other prophets before, so they had many people teaching them before.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. And possibly at this point, all of Adam alayhi salam's children had spread all over the world and had many children of their own, and the cities and towns had grown up all over the place. And it's possible that many years had passed between Prophet Adam alayhi salam and his children and Prophet Nuh. We also know that Prophet Nuh lived a very long time, nearly 1,000 years. So he was very old by the time he stopped preaching and telling his people about belief in Allah. Now, where Prophet Nuh lived, the chiefs and the leaders of the city and the town, they were mostly wealthy people. In fact, they were probably all wealthy people. They tended to be arrogant and mostly concerned about their money, and likely were not very fair or just to the rest of the people in the town, especially those who didn't have a lot of money. Now, back in those days, most likely your protection and your power came from your tribe. And if you were all by yourself, or if your tribe wasn't strong, or if you were poor, you were likely mistreated, and many injustices were inflicted upon you. So many of the people who were controlled lived in fear for their life and their property and their well-being, because those in power were not just. And they did not think about the ones who were poor or who did not have protection. This likely angered Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because we know that we first and foremost must only worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We must not associate any other partners to Allah. And so for the people to worship the idols and make festivals for them was a grave transgression. But furthermore, they also abused their power, and they mistreated those who didn't have any, and they mistreated those who didn't have money, and they mistreated the weak. Now, this town had been blessed with a lot of wealth and beautiful homes, but the people stopped thinking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They stopped thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They stopped showing gratitude to the one who had bestowed all of these blessings upon those people. They stopped sharing with the poor, and they stopped helping those who didn't have anything. At this point, Allah sent them a messenger, a prophet, to teach them. Now, it is the tradition that the prophets are chosen from amongst the people. Prophets are not brought from another land or another people to the people who need them. Allah chooses from amongst the people a person who will lead them back to the straight path.
Why are all the prophets always in like Nectar or Medina? They're not like California or France or something like that.
That's a really good question. And that's because the last prophet was 1,400 years ago. And 1,400 years ago, there weren't very many people here in California.
Was there California?
There was California, but
France or something. Why did they go to...
There weren't that many people there. The majority of the people, the towns, the populated cities, they were all in mostly a couple of areas in the Arabian Peninsula or in Mesopotamia, ancient India. Yes.
Is that Mesopotamia?
And so that's where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose prophets from amongst those people. Because the people who lived in California 1,400 years ago, well, that was when the last prophet was. This could have been 2,000 years ago, 4,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago. The population of California was probably very, very tiny, if any. So Allah chooses a person from amongst the people. Someone who has good character and who is trusted to lead the people back to the straight path. He does not choose a stranger. And Allah chose Prophet Nuh alayhi salam to be the person to bring those people in that town back to the straight path. Prophet Nuh was gentle and humble. He was trusted, and he was trustworthy. He was pious, and he was kind. And the people went to him for advice. They found him to be wise. They found him to give good advice when he was asked. And his reputation as someone who was truthful and gentle surpassed him. He was a good choice for a prophet. But sadly, he didn't gain very many followers. Few people listened to him, and fewer people even followed. In fact, nearly all of his followers were of the poor and helpless, of the ones who had suffered injustice. Prophet Nuh came to his people and said, "Worship only Allah. There is no God but Him. Otherwise, I fear that you will see the punishment of a painful day. This is in the Quran, Surah 7, Ayah 59.
What is it called?
I don't remember right now. But the leaders of the people just laughed at him. They called him a liar. The leaders said, You are not a prophet. You're nothing but a man like ourselves. We don't see anything special about you. You only have a few followers, and they are of the poorest and the lowest from amongst us. We do not think that you are better than we are. In fact, we think that you're just a liar. And that's from Surah 11, Ayah 27. The people didn't listen to Prophet Nuh. The leaders thought just because they had a lot of money and wealth and power, they had no need for what Prophet Nuh was saying. They also had their traditions. They liked their idols. They liked their ways. They liked what their forefathers had practiced. They liked their festivals and their celebrations and their holidays, their special offerings for their idols. And they didn't want to change their ways. Prophet Nuh said, I have been sent with a message of mercy, but if you refuse to see the truth in it, I cannot force you to accept it. O my people, I do not ask you for your wealth, for my reward comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's in Surah 11, Ayah 28 and 29. Prophet Nuh said over and over again that he did not want their money and he did not want their power. All he wanted them to do was to change their wicked ways, to follow Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to give up the idols. He told them, I will never turn away a believer who has little money. I will never tell my poor followers that Allah will not reward them. Surely Allah knows best what is in their hearts. I see that you are very ignorant people. Of course, the leaders of the town got very upset with Prophet Nuh alayhi salam. For if people started following Prophet Nuh, certainly they would stop following the leaders. And if people started obeying just the one Creator, one Allah that Prophet Nuh kept saying to do, surely they would give up all their idols. What would happen to all the people who made those idols, who fashioned them out of stone and clay and wood? Surely they'd be out of business. What about all the festivals and the celebrations? What about their old ways and their traditions? No, they didn't want to give up their ways. They didn't want to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They didn't want to give up their sin. One of them finally said, one of the chiefs turned to Prophet Nuh and said, O Nuh, you have argued with us so many times, and we still don't care what you say. We don't believe you. If what you say is true, then bring upon us the punishment you warn us about. That's in Surah 11, Ayah 32. Prophet Nuh must have been preaching to them for a very, very long time. For one of them to finally say, we'll bring this punishment you keep warning us about. If what you say is true, then bring this punishment that you say your Lord will put on us, will bring to us. Now, this is a very ignorant thing to say. To say, sure, if you say what is true, then let this punishment come, because Allah will unleash a punishment on them, and there will be no turning back. But Prophet Nuh replied, only Allah will bring the punishment upon you, and when He does, no one can escape. None of my advice will help you if Allah wills that you remain ignorant. Allah is your Lord, and to Him you shall return. That's in Surah 11, Ayah 33 and 34. But Prophet Nuh did not give up on his people. He continued to tell them about worshipping Allah and giving up the idols. But after many, many years and many times that he spread the message, Allah finally told him that no more people would join him. There would be no one left who will believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everyone else in the town and the city would not follow Prophet Nuh. Only the few believers that he had were going to be the only ones who were going to follow and obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded Prophet Nuh to do something. Something incredible. Something that is unbelievable. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded Nuh and his followers to build an ark. Now, an ark is not just any ordinary boat. It is so large, so sturdy, and so strong that it can withstand being in the ocean, being in a storm, being with rough waves. And it's strong and big and can carry all kinds of things. Now, this ark was going to carry quite a few special things. But in the meantime, there he was with his followers building an ark miles and miles and miles and miles away from any large body of water. An ark that was bigger than what a river could hold, and certainly larger than what a small sea would need. He built an ark the size that would be suitable for an ocean journey. So certainly all the people in the town began to wonder and make fun of and mock Prophet Nuh alayhi salam and his followers.
What is mocking?
Make fun of. Oh, you're building an ark out in the desert where there's no water? Certainly you've gone crazy. It was pretty absurd for the people. They had no idea what Allah had in store for them. So they gave Prophet Nuh's people a hard time, because Prophet Nuh's people were building an ark. And the followers were quick to obey Prophet Nuh. And they worked diligently, and they worked with precision and care, because this ark had to be strong. It had to be strong enough to carry 2 of every creature on the land. They used long, strong wooden planks and they nailed them together. They worked for many days, many weeks, many months. It might have even taken them years in order to build this ark. Often the townspeople would walk by and make fun of Prophet Nuh and his people. They would say that they were crazy for building an ark in the middle of the desert. There is no sea in this area. What, do you plan to sail your ark on sand? Little did they know that Allah had a great punishment in store for them. People would point and laugh at Prophet Nuh. They would even sometimes threaten them, try to harm them. Even Prophet Nuh's own wife did not agree with him. But Prophet Nuh was patient. And he would reply, "Though you are laughing at us, we are laughing at you in the same manner. You will soon know who will face the punishment of Allah." That was in Surah 11, Ayah 39. And then he would return to building the ark. He didn't let people's insults and threats bother him in the least. He remained patient and strong, and so did his followers. And soon, by working hard together, the ark was finally finished. Next, Allah commanded that they should gather 2 of every kind of animal, male and female. And so Prophet Nuh and his followers scoured the land for 2 of every kind of animal that they could find. And they put them on the boat. Then the very few followers that Prophet Nuh had also boarded the boat. They had gathered up their belongings and they got onto the ark. And finally, Prophet Nuh and his children boarded the ark last. But sadly, one of Prophet Nuh's sons refused to board the ark. And this was a son who had helped Prophet Nuh. And all this time, Prophet Nuh thought that he was a believer. All these years, he was on Prophet Nuh's side, but in his heart, he didn't believe. It's what you call a hypocrite. When you behave one way, but you believe a different way.
Do you know how many kids he had?
I don't know how many kids he had. But he lived for a very long time, so I imagine that he had a lot of children, and that those children had their own children. But this one son of his, he could have been a very old man by this time, I don't know, because Prophet Nuh lived for a very long time. But this one son of his refused to board the ark. And now Allah sent his punishment. The skies darkened to black. Clouds rolled in. And the people thought, rain! We need rain. We've had a drought for so long. The desert is dry. The land is parched. Our crops are failing. Our livestock are thirsty and hungry. Rain was good, but a storm that Allah had in store for them was not. This storm was like no other storm. The clouds seemed to swallow up the light. They rolled in dark as night. And then the thunder began to boom and echo across the land. It was so loud the houses would shake. It was so loud you'd have to cover your ears. It was so loud just the sound itself was frightening. But the lightning illuminated everything that was dark. And for a moment you could see, and then the light would go out. And then the thunder would echo and boom across the land. People came out of their homes wondering what was going on. It was louder than any storm they had ever experienced. And then Allah unleashed the rain. Rain came down furiously from the sky. Not just a drizzle, not just a rain, but a torrent. Huge raindrops came from the clouds, and it rushed faster and faster and faster. There was so much rain, the land couldn't absorb the water, and it kept pouring and raining. It became deeper and deeper, and soon the floods were everywhere. But that wasn't all. water began to gush from the ground itself. Water came pouring out from the land. At this point, the people were terrified. Water was coming from the sky, and water was coming from the ground. Where would they go? As the water level rose, the wind developed, and powerful waves crashed all around. There was no place for the water to go, and people were scared. The water was crushing their houses and trees, and as it rushed by, it swept up people. There was no place for them to go. The few that had not already been swallowed up by the water ran for the mountains and the hills, and they climbed higher and higher, but the waves kept lapping against them, and they kept climbing as high as they could. At this point, from the ark, Prophet Nuh could just see his son. Prophet Nuh called out to him, "Oh, my son, come with us and be safe. Do not die with the non-believers." But his son yelled back, "I am going to the top of the mountain. I will be safe from the water over there." But Prophet Nuh knew that no one on that day was safe, except the ones that Allah willed. Today there is nobody who is safe, except for whom Allah has mercy. Moments later, a giant wave came crashing down between them, sweeping Prophet Nuh's son away forever. For days and nights, the ark sailed on the waves, which were higher than mountains. The whole area was filled. Nothing could be seen. There was water as far as the eye could see. The ark was tossed up and down against the waves, but the people were safe because the ark was strong, and the animals were safe. The ark moved across the tumultuous water, and though everyone had drowned, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala kept Prophet Nuh and his followers safe. And then finally, Allah gave his commandment. "O earth, swallow up your water. O sky, be clear of clouds." Surah 11, Ayah 44. And we know that every single thing must obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so the ground obeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and swallowed up the water. And the clouds obeyed Allah and they ceased to pour down rain. And the ark came to rest on Mount Judi. As the water receded, it ended up just on the tip of that little mountain. Prophet Nuh and his followers were now safe from danger. But Prophet Nuh cried out to Allah, "O Allah, my son is of my family, and now he is dead. Why did you refuse to save him? You are the most just of judges." Surah 11, Ayah 45 and 46. And Allah replied, "O Nuh, he is not a part of your household. He was a person of evil conduct. He refused to see the truth. Do not question my decisions on subjects about which you do not know." It didn't matter that Prophet Nuh's son was his son. He did not believe. He did not obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Prophet Nuh realized what Allah was saying and quickly repented and asked for forgiveness. O Allah, I seek refuge in you. I am sorry for asking you about a decision you made. You know better than anyone. If you don't forgive me, I shall be amongst the lost people. But Allah forgave his noble prophet. Allah forgave Prophet Nuh and told him to lead his followers and the animals off the ark. The followers and Prophet Nuh and all the animals descended from the ark. They were safe. The water had receded. There were no non-believers amongst them. There were only believers in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No one to ridicule them, to beat them, to abuse them. No one to mock them, make fun of them, tease them. No one to torment them. They were the few people who believed in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The very, very few people of all the town and all the city that Prophet Nuh belonged to. But you know what? Over time, after many generations, the descendants of Prophet Nuh were the people of Ad, and once again, they had fallen back into idol worship. But for now, they were the believers, and they were safe. If you want to see some of the other lessons in this Islamic Waldorf-inspired main lesson block on the letters, you can tap on the screen right now. If you would like more information on this curriculum that I've created, you can find it on my website at pepperandpine.com. And if you want to see how our homeschool is progressing on a daily basis, you can find me on Instagram at pepperandpine.